The causes of World War I. World War I did not only begin with a single gunshot. It began with decades of rising tension, broken trust, dangerous politics, and a world obsessed with power. By the time Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in June 1914, Europe was already standing on a cliff. One spark, just one, was all it needed to fall into war. The world before the war. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, Europe was the center of global power. Its wealth, armies, industries, and empires stretched across the world. But beneath the surface, something darker was growing. Countries no longer saw each other as neighbors. They saw each other as competitors. A competition for land, power, resources, and respect. Historians use the acronym MAIN to explain the four big causes: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. Section 1, Militarism, the arms race that shook Europe. Militarism wasn't just about having a strong army. It was a mindset, a belief that military power was the key to greatness, and war was a natural way to solve problems. In the decades before 1914, European nations began pouring enormous amounts of money into their armies and navies. Each country felt that if they did not build more weapons, their rivals would. Germany, newly united in 1871, was ambitious and confident. Under Kaiser Wilhelm II, it decided it wanted to rival Britain as the greatest power on earth. To do this, Germany began constructing a fleet of massive battleships called dreadnoughts. These were the most advanced warships of their time, floating fortresses. But Britain had always relied on having a stronger navy than any other country. So when Germany started building new battleships, Britain responded by building even more. By 1914, Europe was filled with millions of trained soldiers, advanced artillery, machine guns, and massive war plans ready for use. But this wasn't just about weapons. Generals became powerful political voices. Military leaders promised governments that victory would be fast and easy. War was described not as a tragedy, but as glorious, necessary, and even inevitable. Militarism had created a continent addicted to preparations for war. So when a crisis arose, leaders were tempted to use their armies instead of diplomacy. Section 2. Alliances. The chain reaction. Waiting to happen. If militarism loaded the gun, alliances connected the trigger to every major power in Europe. From the 1870s to the early 1900s, European countries formed complex alliances, not always based on friendship, but on fear. Each nation believed that alliances would protect them. By 1914, there were two major alliance blocs: the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Italy, though Italy would later switch sides, the Triple Entente, Britain, France, Russia. But these alliances were not simple promises of support. They were military agreements, often secret, that obligated members to fight if war broke out. Section 3. Imperialism. The fight for empires. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, European nations expanded their empires across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. This competition for colonies created bitterness, jealousy, and fear. Britain's empire was the largest in history. France held huge territories in Africa. Germany entered the race late and demanded more colonies. Austria-Hungary looked toward the Balkans for influence. Russia expanded south toward warm water ports. Section 4. Nationalism. Pride, hate, and the dream of new nations. Nationalism was the most emotional cause of the war. It was not just pride in one's country. It was the belief that your nation was better, stronger, and more deserving of power. In Western Europe, nationalism created fierce rivalries. France hated Germany for taking Alsace-Lorraine in 1871. Germany believed it deserved more respect and a greater empire. Britain felt threatened by Germany's rising power. Section 5. The Balkan Tinderbox. Between 1908 and 1913, the Balkans erupted into crisis after crisis. In 1908, Austria-Hungary formally annexed Bosnia, which Serbia considered part of its national territory. Serbia was furious. In 1912 to 1913, two Balkan wars reshaped borders. Nations fought each other, and ethnic tensions worsened. Russia backed Serbia. Germany backed Austria-Hungary. The Ottoman Empire lost land. Bulgaria fought Serbia. Greece joined the conflicts. Everyone wanted land. Everyone wanted power. And everyone had allies backing them with weapons and promises. Section 6. Why World War I happened. The real reason. The assassination was just the spark. The real causes were: militarism created massive armies ready to fight. Alliances turned a small conflict into a global war. Imperialism created competition and jealousy. Nationalism created hatred and the desire for independence. Balkan tensions made the region unstable. Poor leadership and aggressive decisions. This is War Revelation Episode 2.